Blackwood Creek always felt heavy, thick with the scent of pine and something else, something metallic and old. I grew up on its edge, in a house that sagged like an old man's shoulders, its windows perpetually fogged with condensation. The creek itself was more of a sluggish, brown artery, choked with fallen branches and a silence that wasn't peaceful, but expectant. My little sister, Lily, was the first to notice it. She was too young for elaborate lies, barely 5, when she started talking about the water lady. She described her as always dripping, her skin pale and slick like a freshly caught trout. She'd appear at the edge of the creek, just beyond the reach of our porch light, her hair a tangled mess of dark weed. Lily said the lady sang, a low, mournful sound that made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. My parents, being practical folk, dismissed it as childish imagination. Just a dream, sweetheart, my mother would say, smoothing Lily's hair. But Lily was insistent. She'd wake in the night, convinced she heard the singing, a haunting melody that seemed to weave itself through the rustling leaves. Sometimes, she'd add, a shadow would join the water lady, a tall, stooped figure that never spoke, but exuded a chilling malevolence. Lily called him the Mud Man, and she was terrified of him. One unusually dry summer, the creek dwindled to a muddy trickle. The usual dampness that clung to our house seemed to recede, replaced by an unnerving stillness. That's when the visits became more frequent, more intrusive. The water lady, no longer confined to the creek's edge, began to appear at the edge of the woods bordering our backyard. I'd see her from my bedroom window, a shimmering distortion in the moonlight, her silhouette stark against the dark trees. The singing, when it came, was clearer now, a siren's call that promised something both beautiful and terrible. My own apprehension grew. I started having nightmares, vivid dreams of being pulled into cold, dark water, of unseen hands reaching for me from the murky depths. I began to understand Lily's fear. It wasn't just a child's fancy. There was a palpable dread that seeped into the very foundations of our home. The turning point, the moment the polite dismissal of my parents shattered, came on a night thick with an unnatural fog. Lily was screaming, a raw, primal sound that jolted us all from our sleep. We found her at the window, pointing with a trembling finger towards the tree line. There, illuminated by the weak glow of our porch light, stood the water lady, her form more distinct than ever. But this time, she wasn't alone. Standing beside her was the Mud Man, his features obscured by shadow, but his posture radiating an undeniable threat. And then the singing. It was no longer a mournful melody. It had twisted, taken on a guttural, possessive quality. It wasn't a song of longing anymore. It was a song of claiming. It echoed through the trees, vibrating in our chests, a chilling testament to something ancient and hungry that had finally decided to show itself. My father, his face ashen, grabbed a flashlight and a shovel. But as he stepped towards the door, the singing abruptly ceased. The fog seemed to swirl and thicken, and when it cleared, they were gone. But the silence that followed was worse, a deafening void filled with the certainty that something had been watching, Something had been waiting, and now it knew where we were. The Blackwood Creek was no longer just a name. It was a place where the veil between worlds had thinned, and the things that lurked in the deep had found their way to the surface. You think you're safe in your own home, don't you? But the water remembers. It seeps into everything. And some things, they don't stay in the water. Do you hear that? That faint singing. It's getting closer. You should never have listened to the Aqeela files.